This is the full story of Attack on Titan. Let's go. The story begins thousands of years ago when the first life on Earth was born. Let's call it the progenitor spawn. Fast forward a few millennia when Eldian Empire was the strongest in the entire world. They were vicious and pillaged numerous villages, and during one of their raids, they did horrible acts, including cutting off their tongues and enslaving almost everyone. One of these slaves was Ymir. One day, she took sympathy on the pigs. Sadly, she felt relatable and decided to let them go free. But when the king found out about this, he demanded to know the culprit, or else he will gouge every slave's eyes out. Terrified, all slaves ratted on Ymir instantly. The king allowed Ymir to go free, and by free, I mean she'll be hunted down alive. Desperate to live, Ymir decided to hide in a massive tree nearby. She accidentally slips and falls inside the water of this gigantic cave formed inside the tree, and that progenitor spine we talked about earlier somehow fused with Ymir, transforming her into the first Titan ever in history. She returned back to the Eldian tribe and agreed to serve the king with this newfound power. For the next 13 years, she laid waste on Eldia's enemy, primarily the Malian Empire. As a reward, King Fritz allowed her to bear his children. The three daughters were named Maria, Rose, and Sheena, later known as the Wolves. One day, an assassin attempts to murder King Fritz using a long spear, but Ymir decides to save the king and die instead. Now, she could have healed herself easily using her Titan powers, but unfortunately, she had no will to live and passed away on the spot. In fear of losing the power of the Titans, the king forced his daughters to eat the remainings of Ymir in hopes that they will acquire her powers. This is when Ymir arrives in the paths. This large growing tree had 3 branches, showing that the powers have been passed on to each daughter respectively. Since she died after serving 13 years, this became the curse of Ymir, meaning whoever bears the power of the Titans can only live up to 13 years. On a daughter's death, each daughter's Titan powers was split into 3 children, forming the 9 Titan shifters that we all know today. This is when Eldians decided that splitting more will weaken their powers, and they should pass their respective Titan to a single inheritor. After centuries, the founding Titan lands in the hands of Karl Fritz. He was ashamed of Eldia's violent history, so he conspired with the Tiber family and the long oppressed nation Male as the victor. They fabricated a hero named Helios, whom Malians claimed had defeated the Eldian king. This is when Male acquired 7 of the 9 Titan powers from the defeated shifters. While the entire world was distracted, the king took the royals and the people of Eldia to a small island called Paradis Island. He then used the founding Titan powers to transform countless Eldians into colossal Titans and made 3 great walls, which he named after Ymir's daughters. Then he warned the outside world that if Paradis was to be attacked, the tens of millions of colossal Titans would wipe out the entire humanity, aka the Rumbling. However, this was all a bluff to maintain the peace within the walls. He made a vow that anyone with the founding Titan powers couldn't use it for war, and used his power again to alter the memories of all Eldians, erasing any knowledge of the outside world and their history. But he feared that the minority bloodlines that he could not control would refuse to be silenced, so he ordered their extermination. These were the Ackerman and Azumabito clan. To protect the royal family, he renamed Fritz to Race family, and a false Fritz family is introduced to rain fear over the public. Later down the line, the Eldian Restoration group was created. They basically named a child after Ymir and started worshipping her, but they were caught by the Male and thrown outside the walls after being turned into pure Titans. Later on, Grisha Yeager was born. As a kid, he took his sister and ran out of the internment zone, chasing after a blimp in Male. Malians hated the Eldians, and leaving the zone was prohibited. They were quickly caught by 2 Malian soldiers, Eren Kruger and Gross. Grisha accepts to be beaten and also asks for his sister's beating to him, so she doesn't have to be in pain. Eren beats up Grisha while Gross takes his sister, claiming to return her back home, but in reality, he feeds her alive to his hungry, vicious dogs. When Grisha arrives back home and finds out about his sister, he is rightfully so raging. He grows up and joins the Eldian Restoration group and meets his first wife Dinah Fritz, who also has royal blood. They had a child who they named Zeke. As a child, Zeke's parents started pushing their beliefs onto him, while the grandparents pushed the Male propaganda onto him. Meanwhile, Aaron Smith was born in Paradis. His father had a theory that the royal family had wiped out everyone's memories and now promoting a false story. Fascinated that as a kid, Eren started telling other kids this story, and later, a couple of military police heard the story, and Eren's father was tortured to death. Kenny Ackerman attempts to assassinate Yuri due to how the Ackerman clan was treated, but his attempt fails and he devotes himself to protect the Race family, with a secret objective to get his hands on the founding titan. To combat the Titans of Marley, other nations developed anti-Titan weapons. Realizing this, Marleyan military made a plan to retake the founding Titan from Paradis. They started training the warrior unit who will inherit the power of the Titans. Grisha finds out about this and starts forcing his son Zeke to train and become a warrior. However, Zeke underperforms in every exam. This is when he meets Tom Ksawa, the current inheritor of the Beast Titan, and he quickly becomes Zeke's mentor and a best friend. Zeke overhears Marleyan officers how they're closing in on Restorationists group. He wants his parents to stop, but they refuse. So to protect himself and his grandparents, Zeke rats out on his parents. Grisha and the others in the group are turned into pure Titans and sent to Paradis by the same two officers that caught him as a kid. Dinah is turned into the Smiling Titan, but before they could get Grisha, he gets saved by Eren Kruger. Turns out that Eren had inherited the Attack Titan, and he wipes out the remaining soldiers nearby and tells them to retake the founding Titan from within the walls. Grisha is found lost outside the walls, but since he couldn't remember anything, the guards felt bad and they let him go free. This is when he meets Keith Shadis, and Grisha tells him that he's a doctor and wants to help out. Grisha then saves Shiganshina from a huge epidemic and gains respect from everyone. This is when he gets married to his second wife named Carla and had a child named Eren Kruger. More time passes and Zeke inherits the Beast Titan from Tom Ksawa. A few years later, the Warriors unit including Annie, Marcel, Reiner, Berthold, and Peak inherit their respective titans. She's in Ackerman, and Eren saves her from traffickers who killed her family and wanted to sell Mikasa in the underground. Without a family, the Yeagers adopted Mikasa, and Eren gives her a scarf that she dearly holds. During this time, Levi joins the scouts. Eren then wakes up from a strange dream and walks back home with Mikasa. He tells Mikasa that he wants to join the scouts, but Mikasa snitches to his parents, and Carla scolds Eren not to join, while Grisha is intrigued with Eren's curiosity and promises to show Eren what he's been hiding inside the basement when he returns back home from work. After another unsuccessful scouts mission, Keith Shadis passes the title of commander to Aaron Smith. Meanwhile, the warrior unit is on their way to Paradis. Marcel gets eaten by Ymir hiding underground, and Ymir now inherits the Jaw Titan. Reiner insisted that they carry out their mission, and they proceeded to break down Shiganshina and the War Maria. Eren's mother dies by the hands of Dinah Fritz as a mindless titan. A small portion of the survivors of Shiganshina were then evacuated to the War Rose. That same evening, Grisha arrives at the royal chapel and begs the royal family to do something about the Titans. They refuse, and as a result of Karl Fritz renouncing the war, Grisha attempts to attack but he couldn't do it. This is when the future Eren pops up and tells Grisha to stop being the other word for cat as he started this story. Grisha then transforms and inherits the founding Titan. Then he meets the future Zeke through Eren's memories, and Grisha warns him that everything will go exactly as Eren wants, and Zeke has to stop Eren at all costs. Then he heads back to War Rose and meets Eren, who tells him about Carla. After hearing the news of her death, Grisha takes Eren into the forest and makes Eren eat him and inherit the Founding Titan and the Attack Titan. Eren is found unconscious by Keith Shadis with a basement key worn around his neck. With a load of Shiganshina refugees, overpopulation became an issue at War Rose, causing a food shortage. To solve this problem, the adults and 250,000 soldiers were sent to reclaim the lost land. But this was all in naught, as they got wiped out by the Titans. Eren, Mikasa and Armin joined the training corps. Keith Shadis tries to stop Eren by giving him a faulty gear, but despite that, Eren manages to pass the exam. And one day, during the training in the snowstorm, Ymir and Historia become very close. 5 years later, Berthold breaks the wall in Trost. The scouts desperately try to kill the Titans breaching the wall. Eren gets eaten alive, but then he turns into a Titan. Minor Pictures asks Eren if he can close the wall with a massive boulder. The mission was a success, and humanity wins their first fight against the Titan in history. Eren is then imprisoned and taken to trial to discuss his fate. He's then placed in Scouts, under the term that Levi Ackerman will keep an eye on him. The next day, the two pure Titans that they used for experiments are killed, and Eren asks Eren a bizarre question of who does he think that enemy really is, implying that their enemy might be humans. The Scouts start their first mission to reclaim Wall Maria, but in reality, Eren wants to bait out the culprit who killed the pure Titans. He asks the investors for money to buy the necessary equipment to capture this so-called enemy, and according to his plan, the female Titan attacks them. After losing a large amount of soldiers, the Scouts successfully capture the female Titan, but then she starts screaming and a horde of mindless Titans rush and eat the female Titan. The Shifter manages to escape and transforms again. Levi's squad attempts to fight but then gets shot down by female Titan. Eren gets angry and transforms into a Titan, but during the fight the female Titan makes fighting pose that resembles Annie and Eren hesitates. The female Titan capitalizes on this opportunity and captures Eren. Then she gets chased by the Ackermans and they retrieve Eren. When the Scouts return home, they theorize who the female Titan might be. Armin proposes that it might be Annie Leonhardt. Annie gets baited and a battle starts in Volshina. Ultimately, Annie is defeated, but then she starts fusing with Eren. Levi stops the fusion, but Annie enforces herself with Titan hardening, meaning that the Scouts couldn't get any information about her. This is when they learn that the walls are made out of millions of colossal Titans. Meanwhile, at Marley, the Beast Titan and the Joe Titan transform the people of the Ragako village into Titans using Beast Titan spinal fluid. Now with the Titans inside the Vault Rose, the Scouts set out in an attempt to find the breached vault, but oddly, there is no hole in the walls. They then take their refuge in the castle ruins, but then gets attacked by the Beast Titan and the minions from the Ragako village. They get overwhelmed and all hope is lost. This is when Ymir turns into a Jaw Titan and buys everyone some time, but even her Titan form isn't enough. And right when she's about to be eaten, the reinforcements arrive, just in time to save everyone. Krista then reveals that her real name is Historia Reyes, and they all head back home. Reiner reveals to Eren that he is the Armored Titan and Bertholdt is the Colossal Titan. He tells Eren that if he comes with them quickly, there's no reason to fight anymore. But Eren is like, nah fam, I ain't doing that, and the fight breaks out. It goes on for a while, but Reiner and Bertholdt manage to capture Eren and Ymir. The defeated Scouts plan to get him back while they wait for the horses to be transported to the other side of the wall. The Scouts catch up to them, but they couldn't do anything against the Armored Titan. That's when Eren leads a horde of Titans towards them, forcing them to fight and give up Eren. Then they try to retreat, but Reiner is like, nah, you ain't going anywhere, bruh. And he starts throwing Titan at them in the chaos. Eren loses his arm but insists everyone to focus on the mission. Dinah frets as the Titan returns and Hannes tries to get revenge for Carla. Meanwhile, Eren tries to transform but can't, and Hannes gets eaten by Dinah. Eren punches into Dinah's hands, which activates the Founding Titan powers, and the Scouts manage to escape alive. They arrive back home and learn that the origins of the Titans is humans. The government finds out and decides that they know a little bit too much. They capture Eren and Historia, while Eren and Pictius plot a coup d'etat against the corrupt government. After learning that the current king is a fraud and the true royal family is Reyes, they plan to put Historia Reyes as the ruler of the Paradis. The government finds out and they're trying to get Historia to eat Eren to steal the Founding Titan. Their plan fails. Historia slams Reyes to the ground and frees Eren. At the same time, the Scouts infiltrate the chapel and defeat Kenny's forces, leaving Kenny the only survivor. Eren's coup d'etat is successful and the government gets overthrown. Reyes transforms into a ginormous Titan by licking the Titan serum and starts heading for the walls, dragging his body to the ground. Eren drinks the hardening serum nearby and quickly learns how to use this ability. Eren claims that by dragging his face, the Reyes Titan should have openings. At the same time, Levi tells Historia that she should become the queen as she's the only one with the royal blood. When Reyes stands up, Eren's intuition proves to be correct. Eren stuffs his mouth with gunpowder and Reyes goes kaboom. Then soon after, Historia becomes the queen of Paradis. Levi finds Kenny on the brink of death, who gives him the Titan injection. The next day, the Scouts set out to block the wall in Shiganshina. Eren transforms and seals it by using his newfound hardening powers. But something feels off. There's no Titan nearby. Armin commands to search the walls as there may be someone hiding in there, and his hunch was right. They find Reiner waiting for his sneak attack. Levi wastes no time and tries to kill Reiner, but Reiner quickly transforms and escapes his death. That's when Beast Titan transforms a bunch of other Titans and commences a surprise attack on the scouts. Berthold is thrown in by the Beast Titan and he transforms mid-air, making a nuke from his colossal Titan transformation. Armin plans with Eren to take down Berthold while Erwin deals with the Beast Titan. Erwin leads the new recruits into a suicide charge against Zeke. The plan was to distract him so that Levi can use the Titans to go close to the Beast Titan to finish the job. They get decimated by Zeke's rocks, but this buys Levi enough time to reach Zeke and kill him. Well, that's if the Joe Titan wasn't nearby. Zeke gets rescued by the Joe Titan and Erwin's death was all in naught. On the other side, Armin commences his own suicide mission until Eren takes down Berthold. He holds on to Berthold until he's accepted in the hood. Eren cleans it up as Berthold was on cooldown for his heat wave move. On one hand there's Armin, and on the other hand Locke is carrying Erwin. Both are barely breathing. The Car Titan retreats with Reiner back to the Marley, meaning that the scouts reclaimed War Maria successfully. Levi initially chooses Erwin, but then after consideration he makes Armin into a Titan and makes him inherit the Colossal Titan. They then finally open the basement and finds out that there's other humans outside the walls. Eren and Mikasa gets imprisoned for attacking Levi, but quickly gets bailed out. The scouts are awarded with the Medal of Honor, but when Eren touches Historia, her royal blood activates the founding Titan powers, making Eren able to see the future, and this changes him forever. Due to Marley losing the Colossal Titan, the Midis go to war against them, and this lasts for 4 years. During this time, the scouts capture some Marleyan ships. They meet Onyakopon and Yelena, who are devout followers of Zeke. Zeke had a plan in mind which needed Paradis Corporation. With the help of Azumabito, they get new technology and knowledge to take down Marley. During this time, the scouts entered the Marleyan lands in hopes that they could talk things out, but they quickly came to the conclusion that peace was never an option. At night, Eren apologizes to Ramsay for what he's about to do to them, while Mikasa almost confesses a love for him. The next day, something changes in Eren, so he infiltrates Marley on his own by going blind in one eye and cutting one of his leg. What? He then meets Zeke and agrees for his euthanization plan. Marley wins the war against the Mideast and they start planning ways again to get their hands on the founding Titan. Veli Tiber declares the war against the Paradis, but little did he know, the war had already started. Eren pops out and wreaks havoc on Marley. The Warhammer Titan tries to subdue him, but eventually gets unplugged. But then Eren uses the Joe Titan to make juice out of the Warhammer Titan, ultimately acquiring her powers. Armin transforms in the sea and obliterates the entire marine fleets. Zeke gets taken by Levi to Paradis on an airship, but 2 Eldian warrior candidates get on the ship as well. Pace Gabby one-shots Sasha and becomes the most hated character in the series. They arrive at Paradis, but Eren and Zeke are imprisoned separately, so they don't come in contact with each other and plan out something. Due to Eren's demonic actions against Marley, a cult-like group called Yeagerists is formed. Eren escapes the prison and meets with the Yeagerists. Their goal is to reunite Eren and Zeke and start the rumbling. At the same time, Marley heads over to Paradis. Then everyone finds out that the wine that they've been drinking had Zeke's spinal fluid, meaning that Zeke's scream will instantly turn every officer into a mindless Titan. This allows Yeagerists to hold the scouts as hostages. Eren beats up Armin and makes Mikasa cry. Pieck agrees to tell Eren where the Marleyan soldiers are hiding, and even though Eren knows that he's being debated, he just goes along with her. Galia tries to eat Eren in a sneak attack but misses. Eren transforms as Reiner and the rest of the military invade Paradis. On the other side, Zeke screams and turns the scouts into Titans, and he starts making a run for it. But Levi's got that dog in him. Zeke blows himself up with Levi, but a pure Titan heals Zeke back up. The Yeagerists tell Zeke Eren's location, and the goal is to make Eren contact with Zeke's royal blood. They get so close, but fails Gabi don't miss and blows Eren's head off. Although the contact is successful and they both meet in the pods. Eren betrays Zeke and reveals his own plan, a full-blown genocide. He starts the rumbling by unhardening the millions of titans in the walls. This also wakes up Annie out of her shell. The scouts and the remaining warriors form an alliance to stop Eren. To catch up with Eren's army, they head up to the port for flying boats, but the Yeagerists are already holding the port hostage. The Yeagerists fight to the end, but eventually lose against the Aquaman and the Titans. This causes multiple casualties, including Flock Forster. As they refuel the plane, the rumbling catches up to them. Hanji sacrifices herself to buy enough time to take off. They catch up to Eren and the final fight begins. They realize that killing Eren is the only way. Titan hardening versions of the previous inheritors protect Eren. Armin gets kidnapped by one of them and he meets Zeke in parts. Then Zeke pops out in the real world and Levi finally gets his revenge for Erwin's death. They blow up Eren's head using explosives. Then Armin nukes on top of him to kill Eren. That's what I would say if Eren didn't transform again and started boxing Armin as a Titan. While these two are throwing hands, Levi makes an opening and manages to get Mikasa inside Eren's mouth, ultimately beheading Eren. This removes the curse of Ymir and all the Titans in the world are gone. Mikasa takes Eren's head and buries it under the tree that the show first began. Paradis becomes the heroes who saved the world. Over the next few decades, the society developed drastically. His friends, including Mikasa, would visit Eren's grave to pay respects. Mikasa eventually passes away, and after 1,000 years, war breaks out again, and Paradis gets nuked out of existence. At the end, a boy with a dog enters a tree that looks identical to the one that started this entire show. Well, that's all for today, folks. This took me a long time to make, and I really appreciate if you can like and subscribe so that I can make more content like this in the future. Thank you all so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next one.